poetically, our first game of Champions League football for nearly 4 decades is against the team who we beat in the final about 61 years ago. Also, I've absolutely obliterated our transfer record to bring in an old face. Welcome back. Episode 13 of our Villa portion of this year's Doleboy. Hopefully, it shall be lucky for us. We are against Bayern Munich in the Champions League group stage. I have one of the most ridiculous groups I've ever seen. And as you see them coming out, you're thinking, obviously that's going to be ours. Because it's ridiculous team, previous team. So, we'll run into that very shortly. I'll run into our league form, which you can see on the side. It's not good. It's just not good. And I'll also show you our new transfers. But I'm thinking, before we jump into any of that, if you are looking forward to it, and you're happy to see us back in the Champions League, and even if you're not, slap a like, subscribe, all that would be beautiful. Minero, I said at the end of the episode that I'd completely forgotten how much money I'd actually offered him, and he was on £250,000 a week, which is ridiculous. But to be fair, if he was going to be one of our best players, then yeah, fair dues to the fella, but he wasn't. He just wasn't. So, we signed him for 43 million. I was surprised to make any money on him. I'd accepted a few offers previously to just shy of 40, high 30s maybe, and he'd always reject the clubs, which was annoying. So I'd taken to just accepting it. And then Man U popped in, offered me 52 million, took him off our plate, which I was over the moon about. We lost another centre-back in the way of Thierry Small. He could also play up that left side, as we're aware. But he was a little bit too small. So we've let him go out to Brentford. He came in to us for 20.5 million, also leaving for 52 million pounds. So at the moment, we've brought in 100 million for 2 centre-backs. I'm going to level with you. I spent more than that on one. We've also lost Sven Burke. He came in to us on a 3 transfer at the end of last season. Well, the start of last season, I suppose. Played a few games, did all right for us when he did come in. But we had quite a few names in there and a few guys I was able to bring in. So I thought we might as well make a little bit of money on Sven. So we did just that, £9 million. Martin Allen is a similar story. Came into us on a free from Arsenal. Played a few games for us out on that left side. He was all right, to be fair, but there was quite a bit of interest from him. So I thought, you know what, we'll let him go. We've got a few players out on that left side as well. Makes 16 million in the process. And another sale from our quick turnarounds, Axel Maciel. So we had him at Atalanta, sold him. We've brought him over to Villa for £27.5 million. And after 2 seasons, or a season and a half actually, he's left to Inter for quite a hefty profit actually, about £17 million, which is a pretty decent turnaround. Victor Acero has also left us. He's one that was already at the club when we were there. I've tried to sell him for a little bit because he just wasn't going to be getting any game time for us. He went out on loan last year to Ipswich, performed okay, and he's gone now to Fiorentina for £16 million. So there's a lot of money being brought in. And there's even more when you throw in the profit from Angulo. He played really well for us last season, played 35 league games, scored 19. I didn't particularly want to let him go, but I thought for us to be able to make a signing that I wanted to make, he was a player that I could sacrifice. So we brought him in for 1.9 million. He's played, 35 league games, got a rating of over 7 on average, and we've made, 2 million, 36, 18 times what we paid for him to sell him. And this is what we're here for. Our old face, Axel it's not him at all. Twanzebe has came in to us on a free. He was at Sociedad. He did play for Villa a few times, actually. I got a level. I didn't realise it was 3 separate times. That one was in-game. Okay, he came through us twice on loan in real life. I was quite happy with him when he played. I would like us to have bring him in permanently, but obviously Man U had other ideas. So I've brought him in. He's played 1 game, scored an own goal, got sent off. against Baggies. So I'm not particularly happy with him, and I'm not sure he's going to play again unless I am in drastic need of a centre-back. And then we have Anil Ahmed Hosich. I think that's wrong. He is he's 34. Leeds picked him up a good few seasons ago for 44 million. We've picked him up for 10.5 from them. So he's not going to be here for a while, and I doubt we've got any resale value on him. But I was thinking it's not a lot of money to pay for a centre-back that's listed as good for most Premier League teams. And if we get 1 or 2 good seasons out of him, I think he's well worth that value. To replace Angulo, we've brought in Luis Flavio. He just looks a pretty decent striker. He can play out on the wing as well if needs be. But, yeah, we haven't played too many games with him as of yet. He hasn't had the best of ratings in his 1 game he's played. But he came over for us for 13.25 million. He's got the stats there. And, as I say, he's in as a backup. So, even if he comes in, scores a handful of goals every now and again, I'll be pretty happy. Another old favourite from, I think, everyone except for Man U fans is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's came in at 34, so he doesn't quite have the legs he used to, but he's still incredibly helpful, and he can cover in the central midfield as well if needs be. We paid £14 million for him. I think he's going to do a good job. He came in quite recently, so we haven't had a game for him as of yet, but he may very well do so in the one against Bayern very shortly. We were in need of a new backup goalkeeper, so I've brought in Brandon Geraldo. Not only is he a backup, he does have potential to be a leading keeper for the Premier League. So if for some reason Mads Danielsson ever leaves us, or if someone buys him for obscene amounts of money, we've got a ready-made replacement. There is a slight issue in the fact that our backup goalkeeper has cost me £40 million. But he looks incredibly good. So I think he's worth it. And he's already worth more than that. So, do you know what? It's the motto of the window. But I've taken a punt. And now we have a twofer. Players from our previous club, Atalanta. We've brought in Dylan Hugendorn, who I brought in actually to Atalanta from Sparta Rotterdam. We paid a lot of money for him back then. He had like a hard-coded 4.5-star potential, world-class player. And he played pretty goddamn well for us when we were there. So I'm happy to bring him in because I know he'll do a job. He's only played for us 3 times at the moment. We have spent 60 million on him at the moment. I think it may be able to rise to 88, which is quite a lot of money. He's now valued at least £50 million over what we may pay. And as I know, he's a good player. I've done it. I've bloody done it. I've brought the boy back, even though he was never here, but he was back to me. Favasuli is with us. Oh, I'm so happy. He is, he's pretty good. He just is pretty goddamn good. You've noticed the value, haven't you? Yeah, he's worth £250 million. I've spent quite a lot of money to bring him in. He's 110 million at the moment. I believe that's rising to 133. So it is pretty much twice as much as we paid for Danielsson, who was our record transfer as of the end of last year. So he's going to do a good job for us. He definitely is. Talking of Atalanta, they join us in our Champions League group, along with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, who are the record holders for winning this title the most amount of times. Bayern Munich, as we know, are quite good in Germany. It's taken to stupid levels now because they've won the title for... yes, I'm having to click past winners to find out when they first won it. 21 years in a row. 21. Who's letting that happen? Obviously, it's not going to happen on our Duisburg save, which you haven't been watching. Get over there and watch it. I might even pop it above my head now. Hopefully, if I remember in post. We're going to be overthrowing Bayern Munich. It's going to be well easy. Definitely isn't going to take about 70 years. And Atalanta, obviously the throwaway team in the group, definitely going to beat them. Maybe not, because the media predict them to be first in Italy. Because I've been upset with my other centre-backs, I'm going to be going with Geraldo as one of my centre-backs. He's joined with Machalenko, both as the wide centre-backs, and Favasuli as our ball-playing defender on cover, because he's pretty good. He's quite handy. Danielson's in goal. Alexander Arnold and Estrada as our wing-backs. Lewis and Oliver as a centre mid. Hugendorm just ahead of them with Lafarge and Nichiri as our strikers. It's not dissimilar from what we had been playing regularly. I've taken away from that 5 at the back that we tried towards the end of last season. And I've got faith. I'm staying with my faith in our 5-2-1-2. Bayern Munich are lining up with a 4-2-3-1 and a perfect form. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, Bellingham, who's Dortmund's arguable best player, has gone over and joined Bayern Munich because that's pretty much what Bayern Munich does, isn't it, really? Just buy all the other teams from their division. Free kick out on the left. Kimmich just... I didn't even get a chance to respond to this. Like, what's happening? Kimmich popped it in, Havertz knocks it across, and Bellingham poked it in at the back post, and I don't think there's any reason for it to be ruled out. If you want to rule it out, I'll be over the moon. He's not done that. Kimmich throws it out to Havertz on that right side. I'm starting to think they've only got 2 players at the moment, and it sounds like that's all they need. Machalenko, Estrada, and Hugendorm. A hopeful ball forward. Lafarge wasn't making the run at that point. I have made quite a few signings, so I'm hoping that the players just aren't quite gelling with each other at the moment. So when we get half the season in, players are all going to be like, oh, that's when you make runs, or that's when you pass the ball. I'll do that. And then we'll just start bullying people left, right, and centre. It's a bit concerning at the moment. We're 8 minutes in. We've already picked the ball out of our net twice. Gerard actually has his little initial next to his name now. He hasn't had that for a while because of their striker that's already scored. Estrada puts it in towards Lafarge. Nichiri, what's that then? How's this happening? Bayern got the ball out on their right side again. Our number 8 was chasing back with intent. Didn't get anywhere near the ball though. Kimmich puts it towards the back post. We have nodded it away, and Davies picks up the loose ball. Drives forward in just terrifying fashion, like you do. They put the ball in the net again. They've scored. Oh, it's too easy. It's too easy for them. Do I go back to the back 5? Do I just completely ignore what I just said about having faith? I wasn't expecting to get much from this game. Don't get me wrong. Kind of expecting to lose definitely the away games against Bayern and Real. Maybe get a cheeky point in our home fixtures. And hopefully get the better of Atalanta. It's not looking great at the moment. We've just managed to score to make it 3-1. It seems that we've got quite a hill to climb, but we're starting. There's our first few steps up the hill. Oliver's drove through from midfield. Pretty tasty finish from the lad. I have made a little sub about 10 minutes back. I took Lewis out for Trujillo. I thought he was going to give away a penalty then. Just because Lewis had picked up a little bit of a knock by the looks of it. I have they've scored again. I have changed Hugendorm to be an attacking advanced playmaker rather than support because he's dropping back too much into the centre mid, and I want there to be like a little makeway, a little gap between our midfield and attack. Doesn't appear to make much of a difference because we've conceded again, which is a shame. I have just done a little bit of maths. My back 4 being the 3 centre backs and goalkeeper. They're worth £275 million, and that's before add-ons. That's just what I've paid at the moment. If we put add-ons in as well, you're probably looking north of 300 million. I mean, we've just kind of been a little bit humbled, haven't we? A corner for Bayern on their left side, puts towards the back, and it's nodded away. Haluk Kaya picks up the loose ball for him. I've dropped all my strikers out of attacking, kind of staying forward on corners. Because, I mean, you never get anything for... They've scored again. You never get anything from them. So, let's just kind of just have everyone sat in the area. 'Twas a suggestion from the wonderful Andrew Plays. And if any of you want anything to do other than watch me get absolutely bullied, is go onto his channel. He does wonderful things. I think I might go and watch that instead of the rest of this game. Oh, joy. We have another highlight. Don't do this. Please. Please. I can't watch. I was really happy to sign Favasuli. I still am. But, yeah, we've been bullied. It's the only way to put it. Every time we seem to think, oh, we're getting something back into this game, they immediately score again. The Shearers put that wide. Why? Why are you like this? if we're looking at the stats and the XG, we were fortunate to score 2 goals from the XG we had. They had, what, 0.06 XG more than us. Scored a further 3 goals. So let's just move on, shall we? I'm thinking, realistically, we're not going to have much of an adventure in the Champions League this year. So I'm wanting to play a game against each of the teams. So I'm thinking our next one will be Man City and Atalanta. We'll put those 2 together. And we'll follow it then up with Real Madrid and Man U. Seems like pretty good pairings. It's almost guaranteed to result in me probably crying. But I do hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If there is, there's some items on screen just under my hands. Yeah, click on one of those. It'll take you further. You can watch some more of my stuff. Like, subscribe, as I mentioned earlier. And thank you very much for your time.